Hi and welcome to this short video about how I mark up my manuscripts when working with theater. The cues are named by page and which number on the page they are. So as you see, we're on page 19. The first cue is 19.1. This is the number I put in QLab or on the desk if it's possible. Like on Soundcraft, you can put your own numbers on the cues. And then in the parentheses, there's the name of the song in this case. Sometimes there's just a cue called louder piano, lower piano, stuff like that for score. Other times it's background music. Yeah, that's where I put what the file is called or the cue that fires. The line here tells me when to fire it. So if the line had been longer like this, I could have fired it anytime during this line here. But in this case, it's supposed to be fired after it. If you go down here and look at the next one, I made it afterwards, and then in Norwegian, which is the language here, I'm a Norwegian guy, I've noted that there's supposed to be a 3-second break. You count to 3 and then you fire 19.2, which then is page 19, cue number 2, and in the parentheses it says 2B. So it's a new song in this case. The song is a solo and a music for a play we've done. And under this one I've written auto cue, parentheses 2C, which means that there's no need for me to fire that cue because it automatically fires after this one. In QLab then, or on the desk, I try to either write 0, so it doesn't have any number to follow, or in QLab you can just remove the number for the cue. So, a couple of tips. Also is if there was supposed to be a, let's take a new page. If there's a cue coming on top of the next page, like say we had some underscore music coming here, and you could fire that underscore anytime underneath this sentence, I would call this 21.1, and then maybe it was track 5C or something. Then just to know that, oh, there's a cue coming up, I would normally point an arrow here on this page which says that, okay, have a cue coming up really early on the next page. That's just one tip. Over to other stuff, I always use a pencil because then I can erase things like this when I don't need them, or if I move a cue, stuff happens as it always does in theater. Director might want you to fire it earlier or later or anything. Another tip I've come to use is if you have more notes, I write them on this page. So I would, for example, if was something happening here, I would have written it on this side. I also use post-it notes like this. I put them when I do run-throughs. If there's something like, say, here I should add +2 dB of strings. It's quite easy to take them out of the manuscript. It's quite easy to see afterwards when you have to do your edits where you actually need to do stuff. So I use post-it notes, pencil, eraser, and also I use these ones. Very handy small things to put on the page. I do like this. A friend told me that you should always put it on the back here, so that when you go to the page that you noted, you actually pull it and then you pull it this way. I color code it so that I use the red ones for acts, so act 1, act 2, act 3 and so on. I use yellow ones for cues that are triggered like level wise on the desk, say more piano or actors coming in and going out if I automate that. I use blue ones for musical cues like underscore, and I use green ones for songs. That way when I look down the rest of or the side of the manuscript, it's easy for me to see where stuff is happening. So this is just a quick way of doing it, one of my favorite ways to do it after many years of trying to figure out the best way to do it. I don't think there is any best way. You just have to find your own way to do it, and then if any of you have any other ways you do it, I'd love to hear about them. So leave a comment if you want to get in touch.